Hello, I'm Daniel. What I plan to make today is a square dish but thrown on the wheel. The tools that you'll need are, you'll need some calipers. Now these are set at 8 centimeters. You need a loop tool, we'll find out why shortly. And more important, you'll need, call it a knife, but it's not really a knife. It's a boxwood tool. It's chamfered, but there is a slight angle and edge to it. That's very, very important. And finally, the most important part is this. This is from a picture frame, glass frame, which I've just cut in half. Now you can see with that, you've got this really glossy surface one side, then if I turn over, you've got the really rough surface. That's the surface that you need, not that one. That one works very well. The clay will not stick to this when it's wet. So that's the plan. So without that, you can't do this. Right. I've wedged the clay. I've wedged about 1.5 kilos of Scava clay, which is ready to throw. So yeah, let's get on with it. Centre. This is the. I'm sure most of you know how to do this. I'm not trying to throw a perfectly flat base. It needs to be concave because when it fires, the pot will want to lift up. So I just need to allow for that. So there is a slight concave shape to the base. That looks okay. That's coming on. Just need to move more of that clay right to the edge. And I'm not too bothered about right at the end. If it's flat, it's flat. I can bring the sides up to make the upper part of the pot. Now to compress, you can either use a metal kidney or a sponge or your fingers, it's up to you. I'm now going to use my sponge just to make sure I've really compressed it. Right, so the plan now is to bring this edge in. So I push in with my sponge. Now I just lift up. Now when I'm throwing this, I'm going that way into a cone. I don't want it going the other way. If I go the other way, I could lose control of it. So it's far better for me to do it this way. Rather than doing a very thin lip, I'm going to do quite a chunky lip. Rim to it. There we go. Now I'm just using the side of my little finger to get that shape. And then I'll then use my chamois just to round the edge off, like so. Right, I've just thickened that top rim. Then what I do is I then put an indentation at the top just for the glaze to pick up. Not too much. Gives it a bit of character. I just need to trim the sides. Right, so that side profile looks okay to me. Now, what I want to do before I start altering the shape is I want to put some more lines on the outside of the pot, especially at the top of the rim. So I'll just use that tool there. Now, by doing that, just gives the pot a full stop rather than just being quite bland. Right, so I've done the outside mark, and now I want to do the same sort of thing on the inside, just to follow that line through. So when the eye looks at the pot, it looks like it's a continuous line. So I'll just do this. Yep, I'm happy with that. So if you look at it from the outside, it looks as though it's a continuous line. And I like the chunky rim. Right, I'm happy with the outside. I'm now going to start cutting the inside of the pot. So I've got the calipers set at 8 centimeters. Now, what I do to help myself, I make a little line with my box tool just to give me an idea where I need to put the calipers. That'll go out shortly. Right, so the plan now is I put the calipers there and there, and then I mark it like so and like so, and I do the same on the other side, which is about there. So those are my markers where I'm going to cut the pot. This is where we use the box tool. Now, it's important, if you use a proper steel knife, which is quite flat, when you cut it, the clay will just stick to itself. So with this one, because it's like chamfered, it will open the clay up, so it won't stick. So let's see how that goes. So I have to be careful here. So I'm now moving the clay slowly down, like so. And that one. So you can see you've got two parallel lines there. Now this mark here, I will just follow that line through. So if I just go, do that there, like so. That's looking good. And the other side. Right, now with this one I need to go right down to the wheel head and cut it off. Right, so that's ready to be removed. But before I remove that clay, I need to cut the pot. Now, when you're cutting the pot, it's important to do it this way, not that way, because you want to remove those bits. So now remember, I purposely threw a thick base because, as you know, with a wide base, it rises at the top when you cut it. So hopefully I won't go through the base. Yeah, that's good. Right, now I can remove these bits of clay. Voila. Oh, that went well. Good. Right, so now what I need to do now is the plan is to push the sides in, but before I do that, I need to score and add some slip on the inside to make sure the clay actually sticks. So just do this. The clay is quite sticky, so it should actually stick, so I don't see any issues with that. Right, so remember, it's that surface, not that surface. Now when I do this, I don't want to push the top in, I'm just doing the bottom in, so I don't lose the shape of that. So now what I'm doing now, I'm pushing and I'm about to compress the base, sealing that line there. Can you see that? Same thing again. Push down. What I do now, I use the same board and I just push the ends slightly. Get my sponge, remove all that mark. The next stage is to wire off again, because I've compressed the base, I need to just take it off the wheel head. That's it, all done. This is the finished pot. I'm quite pleased with that. Handles attached, and as you can see on the side I've added some more little handle embellishments, and I'll show you how I do that on another video.